your exposure to the offensive line, understanding protections, and creating protections and all that sort of thing. How has that made you a better coach of quarterbacks and the passing game overall? How has your offensive line exposure kind of put the icing on the cake as such?
I tell people I wish I did this 10 years ago, get with the offensive line before I called plays in college. But it's been a great experience. It's those group of guys are fun to work with. It was a great learning experience for me in Denver, getting with Mike Munchak and Chris Cooper and just really diving into the ins and outs of the run game, the protection plan. And so it's definitely has benefited my career, and just look forward to the next step now.
It's interesting. A big eye opener to me was my rookie year with the Bengals had Paul Brown as the head coach, the legendary Paul Brown, Hall of Famer, just one of the icons of the league. And his big thing was, okay, I don't want you to just have tunnel vision on your position. If you're a guard and you pull, does the center reach? Does the tackle block down? Is the back filling? What's going on around you? I want you to have the whole environment. So he would give us tests, written tests, and we'd get a grade on our assignment on the upper left-hand corner and a grade on everybody else's in the upper right-hand corner. He wanted you to know all of it. He wanted you to know what was going on with play action fakes, with route. It was like, wow, this is eye-opening. And he like brought me to another, level of football. Is there anybody that did that with you? Who was the guy that, like, man, I learned so much football from this guy, or more than one guy along the way?
Yeah, I've been blessed, as a player and a coach, to be around some very talented coaches, and there's always something to learn and from everyone. And but really, I would say Mike Munchak. I was there with him for 3 years in Denver, and he's a great friend of mine, a great mentor. Still talk to him to this day, probably once a week. But he was a Hall of Fame player. One of the most well-respected offensive line coaches in the league. And he just does a great job of communicating with the players, building relationships, preparing each week. And, had a great time with them, but definitely learned a ton of not only offensive line play, but just scheme and primarily with our protection plan.
Along the way, all the stops that you've made and learned something at every one of those stops, obviously. But is there one in particular, maybe more than one, that influenced and shaped your career more than any other?
I've had great experiences everywhere I've been. I've been very blessed to work for some really good head coaches and assistant coaches along the way. And so really it's, again, just very blessed to be where I am today and the career that I've had as a young coach, and just look forward to, what's next,